Hello, and welcome to this edition of Pastor on the Porch, or maybe I should say Pastor on the Ferry. Amy and I are on the Fort Fisher Ferry today, and following Stuart's themes of inspiration from Southport, I'm on one of my favorite places, the ferry. It's just a beautiful day to be out here. The water is beautiful, the temperature is a little bit cool, and the humidity is low. What a great day to be on the water. When I was a youngster, my family would always take a yearly summer vacation to the beach. I loved everything about going to the beach. We would go down to Emerald Isle or maybe North Myrtle Beach, but many times we came to this area, Oak Island. And we would go to one of the three beaches at that time, which was Caswell Beach, Yopon Beach, or Long Beach. Some of you remember when it was called by those names. I loved everything about the water. I loved being on the beach, laying out in the sun. I loved swimming, body surfing in the surf, but most of all, I love surf fishing. I just come from a long line of fishermen, and we love to fish. I remember one time when I was about 8 years old when we came down to the beach, and that night we went fishing, and I remember catching a huge doormat flounder. Back in those days you could catch flounder off the surf, and I caught a big one. My grandmother was with us, and she was going to cook it for dinner the next day, but I stayed out on the beach the whole day the next day, and I got sun poisoning, and about 4 o'clock in the afternoon I was running a temperature of about 103. I did not get to eat the fish that night because I was too sick. Funny things you remember from your childhood. But at any rate, I love fishing. And when I think about fishing, I think about Jesus, who called fishermen to be his disciples. In Luke 5, we read about the call of Simon Peter, James, and John. We read that they had been fishing when Jesus encountered them, and they had toiled all night and they had caught nothing. In fact, they were cleaning their nets. And I'm sure that Simon was quite irritated when Jesus suggested to him that he take the boat out, press out into the deeper waters, and then let down his net for a catch. It's amazing because when the fishermen pulled the net up, it was so full of fish that the boat began to sink. In fact, they had to call in another boat for help, and both boats were full of fish. So amazed was Simon that he fell at Jesus' feet and he said, "Lord, depart from me, for I am a sinful man." But Jesus said, "No, Simon, no. I'm calling you to a different life. Come and follow me, and you will no longer be a fisher of fish, but you will be a fisher of men." This story has a profound meaning about what it means to be a disciple. What does it mean to press out into the deep waters and cast out your nets for a catch? John Wesley put it like this: we are called to holiness, holiness of heart and holiness of life. Holiness of heart really is about what Jesus does for us inside. It's about growing internally in Bible study, in fellowship with one another, and in our personal devotional life with the Lord. Holiness of life, on the other hand, is what we do for other people. It's about our mission. It's about our mission here in Brunswick County, in America, and in the world. It's really about what we do for God. Holiness of heart and holiness of life. These two concepts form the foundation of what it means to be a disciple for Jesus. Growing in discipleship is not easy. It requires work. It requires study. It requires risk-taking, and it requires moving from the conventional to new ways and new forms of ministry. This is what I think Jesus had in mind when he said, press out into the deeper waters and then cast your nets for a catch. When we go fishing with Jesus, we might just be surprised at the number of fish we catch. Oh, not for ourselves, but for the kingdom of God. It's never a dull day on the water when you go fishing with Jesus.